live in a world today of choices, opportunities. Everything is available, and the world is at your fingertips. Saw someone speaking about a phone, and he said nowadays we are like even a little kid literally has the whole world at his fingertips. And what the greatest president and king didn't have 30 years ago. That's it. And that would empower us and be able to enable us to do so much. It should be so beautiful. And yet, I don't think it's true. I don't think we have the world at our fingertips. I don't think so. I think the truth is the opposite. The world has us at its fingertips. When you hold that phone in front of you, when you have all those opportunities right away available to you, what that means is that you're a slave to all the opportunities. Instead of the opportunities freeing you to do anything, they lock you in to being stuck with the ability to do anything, and therefore doing nothing. And that has an impact on marriages, on shidduchim, and on everything else in life, on internal happiness. And it's this general issue which we all struggle with nowadays. If I can go anywhere and do anything, then I have to make a decision. If I have to make a decision, I'm a free person, then I have to maybe that's a good idea, maybe the other one, and who knows, and that leaves me absolutely stuck. Once upon a time, you lived in a small little place, small community, didn't know anything else, so you want to find a shidduch, there's 5 opportunities. That's a lot. Okay, so a couple said no to you, and then and the parents made the decision anyway. So there wasn't much to go with. Okay, that's better than that. Fine, let's do it. Now what do? Marriage is not happy. You make it happy. Because what are you going to do? There's no opportunities besides that. When you have an option, yes to get married, not to get married. Marry this gender, that gender, who you are, who they are, there's just everything's open. Whether you should get married or not, you have to be single. And then if you marry this one, maybe, and then once you married, who says you're happy? Maybe the other person's happier. What do you think that does to a person? Opportunities are not so good for us, because what they do is they bring out of us deep feelings. The question is, which direction should I direct my feelings at? And so if I have a feeling of grief over the loss of someone, maybe I should act on that. Instead of living with that and internalizing my feeling and experiencing the rejection. If somebody rejected me, I right away go and make decisions what should I do next because of that rejection. Once upon a time, there weren't too many opportunities open, so you couldn't grovel too much in whatever decision you had, in whatever feeling you had. Nowadays, because there's so many opportunities, a feeling leads us, right? It's like when you have a feeling of, let's say someone has a feeling of I don't know, they want to be a different gender. So once upon a time, you took care of that, and you went and got healed. And nowadays, what you do is find a group of people who do want to be the same as you. There'll always be another few people around the world like you. Once upon a time, you didn't know about them. Now you do. So now you're stuck in that feeling. You have no way of ever getting out of it. And now you assume it's normal because you have a feeling. Who says I'm supposed to work on it? But maybe feelings are meant to be overcome. Well, how would you know? You're stuck in that. And so it's a confused generation. I think as a generalization, we have a deep, deep feeling of worthlessness. That worthlessness stems from too much availability, too much worth. Paradoxically so. You're so much that you can do, therefore you feel like a nothing, because I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. Like you say, when you want to find a shidduch. So you put 3 people together, and you say, I want a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of that person. Yeah, but that person doesn't exist. Maybe it would have been better if you wouldn't have known the other people. How do we deal with this? And why did Hashem design it this way? Because this problem has actually been around for all time. It's maybe exacerbated now because of all the availabilities and the world being such a small village. But actually the problem has always been around to some degree. The problem is your head. It's not the phone that's the issue, it's the head that's the issue. Did you ever notice how the head operates? What the head does is, everything's fine, I'm good, I wake up in the morning, I'm good. And then my head has this brain. He has das. Das means intellect, but intellect is chokhmah and bina. Das is connecting with what's going on. So he thinks of something that's happening out there, right away starts building a building around it. It's not just something happening, you actually use your brain to feel that's something going on. Which happens to us more than ever nowadays because we know so much about what's going on all around. Everything out there has an effect on us. And that das, which is supposed to free us, actually blocks us. We're really, really, really stuck. It's hard. It's very, very difficult. Das is what makes man unique more than anyone else in all creation. But it's also what blocks him. Animals don't get depressed. Man could. What do we do with that dust? Well, it's a process. The process is the one we're in the middle of going through now. Man goes through ups and downs and challenges and jumping this way and jumping that way. There's so much attacking you in your head. And you have to learn to maintain a wholesomeness, an internal wholesomeness. That process is the one that we are in the middle of right now. We call it Sfiras Ha'omer. And every day during this period of time, you get up and you make a bracha. And you say, thank you Hashem for giving me a crazy head, crazy heart, so many different feelings driving me in every different direction. And I make a bracha. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech asher kitshanu b'mitzvos v'tzivonu al sfiras ha'omer. Thank you Hashem for the ability to refine my little animal inside of me. And when you do that, you get to the goal. The goal being an absolute unity with Hashem, which is Matan Torah coming up, Shavuot. Let's understand this process. It begins with Pesach. When Pesach comes along, the Jews find themselves in Mitzrayim. So that's like, let's call that, let's put it into steps, right? We like to have today clarity on steps. So step one, I should say stage one, it's not really a step, it's just a fact. Stage one is you find yourself in Mitzrayim. That's the part of being locked up and abused by everything that happens around you. That's what we're talking about. When you are subject and prone to any feeding that happens on the outside world, you're stuck. The world controls you. You don't have the world at your fingertips. The world has you at its fingertips. You are locked up. So a guy goes out, he sees a girl, he thinks maybe her, doesn't want to go over to her because he might be rejected. So he's stuck. Now the girl comes off, offers, in the singles date, you want to go out with me? And then, no, you don't look the right one. Or his mother says no. And then you're out, right? So now what do you have left over? Stuck. That's called being affected by the world around you in every way possible, and you're stuck and you're unable to move forward. That's called being in Mitzrayim. One day, Hashem comes and says, let's get out of here. Let's get out of Mitzrayim. And what does it mean to get out of Mitzrayim? He says, I'm going to make miracles for you. I'm going to take you out of this whole mess and I'm going to bring you to a place of oneness with Hashem. It's great. It's beautiful. That's the part of getting out of your limitations. It means Hashem takes you out. That's called, we daven, right? We go to Hashem, Hashem, take me out of this. Take me out of this mess and just show me miracles. As a people, you have those moments, right? Think about a moment like one that comes to mind, 1976. Right? What do the Jewish people feel like? Was it June 76? I think so. Entebbe rain. Operation Thunderbolt. Like we suffer so much, we struggle so much as a people, and one day, You're like, what? Wow. That was nothing short of miraculous. Everything could have gone wrong. It didn't go wrong. And wow, it was just a miracle. You see the hand of Hashem revealed. When you make a shidduch, and when it actually works, once in a while, it's just the hand of Hashem. It's spectacular. It's like, wow. Guy told me last night, he says, like, daughter was in shidduchim for a year, went to the l'chaim, and he says, if you want to know God, shidduchim. Matchmaking is the way to know Hashem. You literally, it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And when it happens, just like, wow, it blows your mind. It's divine. That's Hashem taking you out of Mitzrayim. Hashem says, I'm going to get you out. That's the stage 2, which we go through. Something happens, and you see a divine revelation. But you know what happens after you get married? That brilliant, spectacular marriage? Okay, now what? You want to have like this fairy tale of happily ever after. It doesn't go that way. Now begins the work. After the revelation, Hashem says, okay, revelation is called day 1, ground 0, if you will. Then comes, after it, step 2, which is day 1. So Pesach happens. On day 2 of Pesach, we count day 1 of the Omer. What does that mean? We have a special carbon, a special sacrifice we have, and we take grain and we offer it to Hashem, and this grain is barley, it's animal food. This is a realization. When you get married, you look at each other and you say, forever together, we will get through thick and thin. You know, Ba'asher tilchi eleich, Ba'asher talini alin, Ba'asher tamuti amut v'sham mekaver. Ruth's whole beautiful thing she tells Naomi, I'm with you every step, all the way with you. And we pledge to be with each other all the way. That's the next step. That's when our work begins. Stage 1 is confusion. Stage 2 is revelation. Stage 3 is having got the clarity, a decision on moving forward. That's quick. Then comes stage 4. Step 4, I should say. Stage 4 doesn't sound good. Step 4. What's step 4? 49 days of actual work. Life, most of life happens during those 49 days. 49 days represent 7 emotions subdivided into 7 deep emotions. Categories and subcategories. So every day when you count Sfiras HaOmer, you have another midah to work on, another emotion. Week 1 is kindness. Week 2 is severity. Week 3 is compassion. But then you subdivide them that day 1 of week 1 is kindness of kindness. Day 2 of week 1 is severity of kindness. Day 1 of week 2 is kindness of severity, chesed shebigvura, which means midos, emotions, divide and subdivide. You want to say, I took care of my general midas, I'm good, till you realize it doesn't work that way. The way it works is, the way life happens is, it comes about in bites. Life happens in small, little bites. You know, we're trained to think that, like you see a Rosh Hashiva, a Gadol B'Yisrael, a great person, and you're like, okay, that person's perfect. That's the way he's supposed to be. And there's almost an assumed perfection that we have about people. But you know it's not true. You know that they've all got inside, internal, deep challenges. It's hard. Every one of us has to work through so much, so many issues to work through, and there's the ups and downs. And one day in this mood, one day in that mood, excited, down. You know, in real life, there's so many emotions you got to work with. Just think about it. Something, you know, someone, a good neighbor of yours, a good friend, left town, and you feel a loss, grief. That's not in the books. Someone rejected you. You wanted a shidduch, they told you no. You feel a sense of rejection. And you feel silly for feeling rejection. Because maybe it's the wrong person anyway. How do I know? And then these emotions, they enter you one after another. Life is a series of emotion running at you constantly. But what we're told is, Judaism is Torah and mitzvahs. Judaism is the perfect person, right? He learns, davens, he goes to minyan, he learns his daf yomi, he learns his gemara, and he does, and he gives tzedakah, and he's involved in wonderful things in chesed, etc., etc. And then you have these guys fall into addiction and like, whoa. Then we send to the therapist. Almost as if, what? Judaism is not that? No, Judaism is not that. Judaism is a Jew getting to know Hashem. He's stuck. Hashem, he finds Hashem, he gets to know what Hashem wants, he wants to do it. And that's day one of Sfiras HaOmer, where he brings the korban to Hashem. And then there's 49 days of real life. Those 49 days when you go through the step-by-step process. Now, there is a chapter in Tehillim, which we say, many people say it right after you count Sfiras HaOmer, you say that chapter. L'mnatzeach b'nginos mizmor shir. Elokim yechoneinu v'vorcheinu yo'er panav v'itanu sela. Hashem will be gracious to us, illuminate His face to us forever. Ladat ba'aretz darkecha b'chol goyim mishosecha. To get to know Hashem, familiar with it? That chapter, from the word Elokim, has 49 words in it. So, if you look in many Sidurim, when you count the day as Sfiras HaOmer, they have another word. Day 1, Elokim. Day 2, Yechoneinu. Day 3, Vivorcheinu, Yo'er, Panav, Vitanu, Sela. Each one, and you're going through the words, getting through this whole chapter, through Sfiras HaOmer. And then there's one letter you're supposed to think about every day. It takes one of the verses of that pasuk, of that chapter, which says Yismachu v'ranenu le'omim kisish b'tamim mishor. That has 49 letters in it. And every day of Sfiras HaOmer, you think about another letter. So when you count the Sfira, you look at the Sidurim, you'll see many of them have, there's a word of that chapter, and then there's also Honor B'Choyach is there, and then there's like a little letter of that verse. And every day you're working through this verse. The Zohar explains that this chapter is the story of our lives. King David is capturing the story of our lives and what happens to us. It's all the ups and downs, challenges, and curveballs that we have thrown at us constantly in life. And what we're really doing is, every little moment, finding Hashem. Let's read what he says. He says, Elokim yechoneinu v'vorcheinu. When you see Hashem revealed, that's called Yud Kei Vav Kei. When you don't see Hashem, Hashem is hiding, that's called Elokim. Hence, Elokim is a numerical value of 86, Hateva. Elokim yechoneinu v'vorcheinu. When I don't see Hashem, I recognize Hashem all the time. Ya'er panav itanu sela. So powerful. He will illuminate his panim, his face, his inside, panimiyut. Itanu sela. You know what itanu means? With us. Hashem says, I'm going to do everything on one condition. You reveal me. What you need to do is find a space of illumination. Ya'er panav itanu sela. He says, I'm going to illuminate you if you illuminate me. So you start first. What's your work to do? Essentially, to be happy. To look at anything and everything that goes on and find absolute space of happiness all the time. And the Zohar continues that King David, he knew how to play his music. He had a harp. How did he play his harp? There was a northerly wind which blew. When the wind blew, it got in the right time, it blew exactly on the note that he needed, and it blew the harp. And the note was played. The northerly wind, mitzafon tipatach hara'ah. North is where negativity comes your way. Negativity never comes your way. When something bad happens to you, it's never happening to you. It's always happening for you. So that you can do something about it. I was learning a Gemara the other day. In Masechta Sotah talks about the spies who went into the land of Canaan. So when they came in, they walked inside and they saw a horrible, horrible experience. Everywhere they went, there were funerals. People were dying left, right, and center. And so they were mourning. The whole land of Canaan was mourning. Some say it was people were dying all the time, and some say it was Eve who actually died. He was their protector, and he died at that time. Regardless, they walked around and saw funerals. And so what did they learn? What's the message they got? They came back and they said, Eretz ochelet yoshliahi. This is the land of funerals. Everybody dies on this land. Saw people dying, that to put two and two together, right? People die because they died, so that's the land of people die. That's the fact. What was the truth, the Gemara says? Hashem was helping them. He wanted them to be able to go and see the land and not to be bothered by the people. So he made the people pre-taken busy with all their funerals. So the goal of the funerals was to help them. Instead of seeing the funerals as beneficial for them, they saw it as happening to them. Oh, look, you come in here, you die. So they walked in the land, they got an approach, like, wow, these guys are giants. There's no way we can get in. Too strong for us, too strong for Hashem. Therefore, we can't get in. It's impossible. And look, corroborating that truth is everyone's dying. You could have done it another way. You could have gone in with an approach which says, Hashem is taking care of me all the time, so we're going to get in. That's what Kalev and Yifune said. No matter what, we're going to get in. People are dying. Okay, let's interpret that in a positive way. You have the choice to interpret anything that happens to you as positive or not. What do you choose? That's what's going to be. King David interprets the northerly wind, which is mitzafon tipatach hara. That's where Nebuchadnezzar came from. That's where negative things come from. Always, it's all good. You know why it's happening to me? Lada'at ba'aretz darkecha b'chol goyim yeshuatecha. To know Hashem everywhere. And the harp started to play. He saw bad things happen. He said, wow, it's all for me. I'm getting closer to Hashem. So he was able to see past it. The nations will all get excited because Hashem is doing everything. Etc., etc. You see how the whole kapitel is talking about a Jew getting to know Hashem in this world. The nations will get to recognize Hashem, and we end off Eretz Nasna Yevula. This earth, physicality will give its produce. Hashem will give us a bracha, and then everyone will notice it. This chapter is all about you and I getting to know Hashem. Chapter 67 in Tehillim. When you get to learn it, you start seeing, wow, whatever happens to me, I choose to interpret for the good. Now, you're not told that by the world, right? The world wants you to be anxious. So when they send you a message on the news, it'll always come with, you always feel a feel of anxiety which comes with it. That's because it's designed to paralyze you. But you choose not to be paralyzed. This is the Jewish approach. Unlike Paroi, when Moshe comes to Paroi and he says, okay, we're out, Hashem wants to take us out, what does he say? What God? Lo yadati et Hashem. I don't recognize Hashem. I refuse to accept Hashem. Paroi denies Hashem. A Jew recognizes Hashem every moment. If he denies Hashem, what happens? Hashem's like, okay, knock yourself out. At some point, he's forced to accept Hashem HaTzadik. Okay, I accept. And that leads to a spiral effect, whereby Shamu, Kol Yoshvei Chanan, when the Kriyas Yamsuf happens, and Azni Balu Alufei Edom, they all get shocked by Hashem's revelation. You have the choice in life how you want to live life. Here's how Hashem gives us life. He gives us to us in bites. Small bites. And you get it, and your goal is to discover Hashem. Move forward, discover Hashem. Next step, discover Hashem. Next step, discover Hashem. We call it Avodat Habirurim. Why are we here? To refine and to find sparks of holiness everywhere. Life happens to you deliberately. Hashem puts you in the driver's seat. He says, go for it. Don't be the driver. Get into the back seat. Be an Uber. Tell the driver where to go. It's all about how you feel as these things happen. You're confused. You see, you get to know Hashem, day one of Pesach. You start making a decision. I'm with you, Hashem. That's day 2 of Pesach. Day 1 is First Aimer, and then begins the count. Sfirat ha'omer, counting the Omer. Sfira means refining, like sapphire in English. Sapir, to crystallize. Sipur is a crystallization, right? And ha'omer is the animal food. You're supposed to eat the animal food and recognize that it's all divine. Now, when you walk through life, you start realizing, okay, it's all divine. So let's take an example. You have so many choices. There's so many choices available. What that does to you is one thing. All it does to you is gets your feelings to go this way, that way, that way, that way. You want to know how to control it? You can't control the outside world. It's going to enter into you. But everything that happens, you look at the feeling and you say, this too is Hashem. So all you want to do is monitor, okay, I'm feeling now rejected. Now I'm feeling grief. Now I'm feeling resent. It's all good. Hashem still here. So you make a bracha and you say, okay, here's my feeling today. What's today? Today's Yisod should be Yisod. That feeling. Say, Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, Hashem, I'm drawing you down. You brought Kedusha into my life, and you bring it that I should be connected to you in this animal of today. And then you say, Hayom, Yom Echad LaOmer. Hayom is the gematria, the numerical value of 57. 57 is the same numerical value as, how do you spell Kel, Aleph Lamed? 31. Yud Kei Vav Kei? 26 equals 57. Hayom. Hayom is Keil Hashem v'ya'er lanu, as it says in Hallel and Tehillim. Hayom means I'm recognizing Keil Hashem. Keil Havaya v'ya'er lanu. My job is to see Hashem. So, if I have a million choices, it just makes it more work to do the same thing. It's the same thing that's always been there in history. What's the job? The job is to find Hashem. So, it says, in Eshes Chayil, we say, Vatiten teref leveita. She goes out to find a teref. What's a teref? Teref is when you go to make money, you go to find food, pray. When you want to find anything, you want to find a shidduch, teref. It's called teref. Kabbalistically, teref is the numerical value of 289. There are 288 sparks. Rapach nitzotzim. 288 sparks in life. What does that mean? Opportunities which divide and subdivide and subdivide and subdivide. And when you walk in and see it, imakoil is called the wholesomeness. That's why 289. Teref is you going out and realizing all you need to do is bring Hashem to the picture. That's it. You got to find Hashem all over. So the Zohar says, there's this, the way it words it is, there's this great behemoth, a great animal. And the animal ate, consumed, it says, such a huge animal, 1000 turin de achla behema rabba. This great animal ate 1,000 mountains. It's talking about our lives. Your life is an encounter with the great animal. What's the animal? The animal is your challenges that you have. The challenges, the difficulties. My daughter's making a project of roots, family roots. She spoke to my mother the other day, and she told her something. She said, when I grew up, it's such like a typical Jewish story. She said, I grew up, my mother was born in Sighet, in Hungary, in 1949. Her father lost his wife and children a couple years before. Right, just a couple years before, literally. He was in Auschwitz. And her mother was first time, and she was also in Auschwitz. Then they found each other in 1946, they got married, and she was born a couple years later. I'm like, how do you get born to parents who just went through, like, Gehenna, literally? So she describes that when she was growing up, she, just naturally, she used to go every night. They moved to Eretz Yisrael when she was 6 months old, and she used to go to their room multiple times a night to wake up as a kid. She's the oldest in in the family. She was the oldest because her 3 sisters were murdered in the Holocaust, basically, my aunts. And she would wake up to look at who her parents were alive. They were breathing. That's called anxiety. That's deep anxiety. It's like a paralysis that you get, right? From living Jewish. That's what we've been through. All of us, collectively. And that's the behemoth. It's a great, grand animal that you have to work through. And it creates 1,000 mountains in your life. And what's your mission? To enter into those animals and work with them. So in Tanakh, in Melachim, who are the animals? They are considered to be 12 bakar. Have you heard of them? 12 cows, oxen. The 12 oxen carry a basin, Yam Shel Shlomo. Shlomo built a basin, he built a big basin, and under it were 12 oxen, 3 on each side, and that represents the 12 tribes of Israel. Why are they represented by animals? Because when Hashem is revealed, it's wonderful. You can be a human being. When Hashem is hiding, you're an animal. It's hard. And when you get down into the Shvatim, every little thing you do, it's just difficult. Life is tough. But it's not. All you got to do every moment is to accept Hashem taking care of me. So it's like, stop trying to solve the problem. Let Hashem solve the problem. And that's why there's massive space of time between Pesach and Shavuos is as you're getting to know Hashem. The Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says, Asei retzono kirtzoncha, k'dei she'asei retzoncha kirtzono. It means, make His will your will so that your will becomes His will. We don't do that. The way we're trained is, I want something, I'm not getting it, and so I get all angry and upset. Asei retzono kirtzoncha. Stop wanting things. Accept whatever Hashem gives you is good. You're feeling grief? It's hard. Yes. I feel for you. Move next. You're feeling resent? It's hard. Move along. You allow yourself to feel whatever it's feeling, and then you move to the next step. Because you're saying, Hashem, you are in control. I'm letting go. If you keep doing that, the bigger picture is, Asei retzono kirtzoncha, k'dei she'asei retzoncha kirtzono. Your will becomes His will. That means you get everything you want. When you're trying all the time, you're looking back over your shoulder, why didn't I get it? Why didn't I get it? Why didn't I get it? Can't find a shidduch? It's a bit of training that it requires. The training it requires is to notice every time. If you go over to a guy and he says he feels rejection from going to the girl. Like, go over and say hello. He doesn't want to say hello at the singles event. Why? Because he feels rejection. You know what you should try to do? Give him some empathy. Instead of telling him you shouldn't, give him a lot of empathy. Tell him how hard it is and challenging it is. And then, once he feels the empathy, say, okay, go anyway.
That's what I tell him.
Good, you're good. You get him to feel the problem, you accept, don't tell him you shouldn't feel it. Don't make him feel that, he should. You feel it and it's hard, and you should go over anyway. Our work in life is to illuminate the presence of Hashem all over. When Hashem created the world, it says there's angels. The angels are created in the world there's 2 types of angels. There's angels you know, right? You ever heard of Michal? The angel Michal, Gabriel, Uriel, Raphael. Those are the famous guys. When we talk in davening, we say V'asher meshartav, the angels of Hashem, his servants. Kulam omdim b'rum olam. They're all around him. There's another type of angel. They're less known. It's called Yotzer Mishartim. Hashem creates servants. The ones like Uriel and Gabriel, they were created at the beginning of time. They're like the big angels. There's angels that are created every single moment. What's an angel? An angel, a malach, is a messenger of Hashem. We like to personify them. They're not people. They're experiences. And angels, all the experiences that come your way. There's big experiences, right? The bigger ones, like you're supposed to feel this feeling, that kind of feeling, those are the big angels. And they carry the Merkava, they carry the chariot of Hashem. Yechezkel speaks about the angels on all 4 sides who carry the chariot of Hashem. But then there's the other angels. Those angels are created every single moment. They're created by your actions and your deeds responding. When something happens, right? What's this guy feeling? You tell him, go over and say hello. And what does he feel right now? You just created an angel. See that? You said something, you clashed with whatever he's got an experience, and now there's a clash of experiences. So he feels one way, you feel another way, now you're clashing. Now what? Now there's something going on between you, right? A feeling. That's an angel that's created. What do you want to do with the angel? Help him serve Hashem. Okay, so there's a feeling of rejection, a feeling of grief. Yes, go serve Hashem and accept Hashem into your life. When we work ourselves into our lives to accept Hashem, what we're doing is we're eating the food of the angels. That's seorim. So the seorim is the barley, right? The korban is the sphere העומר, means to offer the barley to Hashem. Barley is animal food. So think about it this way. You want to get to Matan Torah, you want to get to a relationship with Hashem? Hashem says, I know you want to go straight from Pesach to Shavuot. I know you want to go straight from Hashem revealed, and they live happily ever after, all good. Doesn't work that way. In between Pesach and Shavuot, I'm going to have 49 experiences for you, subdivided and subdivided and subdivided more. And what you want to do is take each one of them and say, I'm illuminating this, Hayom Yom Echad LaOmer. I see Kael Hashem. And you say that chapter in Tehillim Elokim Yochanan Ebrahim, I see Hashem, I'm noticing Hashem here. And it's really hard work. Very, 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 very strenuous work. It's like moving another step forward, another step forward, another step. But if you do that work of Asay Retzono Kirtzoncha, make His will your will, then in a bigger picture, Yaseh Retzoncha Kirtzono, you know what that means? It means, I know, we all want, I'm talking to myself, not to anyone else, but we all wanted to just work out. Just, okay, I get all the stuff for someone else. Not for me. It's for the, other people can figure it out. No, it's for me. It's when I accept whatever I'm going through and I work Hashem down into my space right now, I can find Hashem. There's two types of food. There's seorah and chita, two types of grain. Seorah is animal food, barley. I know we like to eat barley in the chol, but it's animal food. Chita is human food, right? And take a look at the way it works. During Sfirat HaOmer, which food do we eat? What's the korban? It's grain, seorah, right? On Pesach and on Shavuos, at the beginning and the end, what food do we have? Pesach is matzah, right? What's matzah generally made of? Chita. On Shavuos, what do we eat? We don't eat it. In the Beis HaMikdash, they did korban. Shtei alechem. What are they made of? Chita. Chametz, actually, has to be. It's got to be chametz. This one's matzah, that cannot be chametz. That one's got to be dafka chametz. Sandwich in between is the animal food. The animal food means when life happens to you, it doesn't come with a manual. It just comes with problems and law and losing yourself and not knowing which direction to go. And now you know the manual. The manual is, this is step 4 of life. Step 1 is the confusion. Seeing Hashem. Accepting Hashem. 1, 2, and 3. And then there's, okay, now let's go through the stages. And every step I'm going to find Hashem and see and accept Hashem and accept Hashem and illuminate my life. And instead of me wanting to go there and being there already, my 7-year-old, we just get into the car, wherever we go, his question is, how much more minutes till we get there? I'm like, at least talk correct English. How much more minutes till we get there? Okay, you tell him, it takes about 2 minutes. How much more minutes till we get there? Adults are like that too. When can I be there already? Hashem says, I want a relationship. Relationships happen by you letting go. What you'll discover is if you let go all the time. It's not that it's not hard, it is. But that difficulty, when you feel difficulty in your life and you feel a real challenge in your heart, you know what you say? You make a bracha. You made me holy to be able to find you where I don't see you. It's not happening to me, it's happening for me. Then you get to Shavuot. Shavuot, you get a new food called chita. Chita is human food. The Zohar says that there's certain letters that don't appear in all the names of the tribes, the Shvatim. Two of those letters are Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Zachar, Zvulun, all of them. Two of the letters that don't appear. Chet Tet. Chet Tet is Chet. Right? Chet is an Aveira. That's why it doesn't happen over there, because the Shvatim are perfect. But then, why is it that Chita, which is human food, is the same letters? If it's a Chet, it's a Chet with a Hey, fine. But it's Chita. And the Gemara says, Eina tinok yodea likrot Abba ad she'itom tam dagan. No baby will ever be able to say Abba until he tastes the taste of grain. Babies who eat mommy's milk will never be able to say Abba. Only once they taste real food, grain. Then they can say Abba. Grain is general food. That's, in general way, Chita. So, by going through the food, you get to Hashem. But I don't understand. Why don't the Shvatim have those letters Chet and Tet in them? And in fact, to us to eat Chita is a mitzvah. Matzah is a mitzvah. Mitzvah Sasa Deraisa. Shtei Alechem is a mitzvah. So Chita is actually good. So what's wrong? Why is Chita spelled with the Chet and Tet? There was one man who wasn't allowed to eat Chita. Who was he? The first man. Because it says that Eitz Hadas was Chita. And he couldn't eat the Chita. He was told, don't eat it. But he did. That was the beginning of Das into this world. Is it good or bad to eat Chita? Evidently it's a mitzvah. But for Adam it was no good. Here's why. There's a difference between Chetet and Chetet Hey. Chet is a sin. Chita is great. For most people. Except for Adam. What does that mean? Chet means, we call it a sin. It doesn't mean a sin. You know what Chet means? In Hebrew, le'achti et hamatara. To miss. Chet is a lacking. That's why sins, chataim, they're lacking. Right? Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu. Hashem, give us more power because we're lacking. Chet is a lacking. The Shvatim didn't have any lacking. Chet tet, no good. Don't have a lacking. A lacking needs to come. What happens when you take chet tet and add a hey to it? In Hebrew grammar, it's called getting a female. Right? Chita, chet is a male. Chet hey, chita is a female. If you have a female, then it's okay. If you feel like you're lacking, no good. If you realize lacking is a female, an opportunity to be a receptacle, to receive a male, that's Hashem, then it's good. If when something negative happens to you, you feel a lacking, oy vey, that's a chet, that's bad. But if when something negative happens to a person, they say, wow, I'm a chita. What's a chita? Opportunity to see Hashem. Opportunity to discover that I'm a female, I'm ready to accept. That's what it means. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Something happens to me, and I say, wow, so this happened to me. I'm going to take this opportunity and recognize, wow, that's a revelation. Hashem, I'm so curious to know, how are you going to reveal yourself to me this time? It's an exciting experience. Adam HaRishon was not supposed to eat even a chita. Why? Because he didn't know about females at all. He didn't have a mother. He didn't have a Yiddish mama. What did he have? He was straight from Hashem. If you're straight from Hashem, everything should be divine. You don't see any issues, nothing there to work with. The rest of us, post Chava, we're supposed to eat chita. Chita is a good thing to eat. Chita means take your life experiences as they happen, see the lacking in them, and accept that that's a receptacle to receive divine energy in them. Means, you want to recognize Hashem? You got to taste the taste of grain, of lacking in life. What's grain? Grain is your need to find food. Your need to look to find your lacking in life, of things you need out there. Those things that you need are your opportunities of revealing the divine energy in your life. And now we understand the whole process. You're in Mitzrayim, you're confused. You're stuck. Everything happens to you. Everything is negative. I'm just lost in all the negativity that's there. And Hashem says, I got you. Accept it. I got you. When you eat the matzah, what's matzah? Emunah. Just accept whatever Hashem does. It's all good. That's absolute emunah. You eat the chita, you say, Hashem, I got you. I'm with you. Now Hashem says, okay, now go out and do it yourself. Then you're like, no, I can't. Okay, I accept Hashem. Whatever you do, I'm going to take it. It's all going to be good, fine. I accept it. That's called offering the korban of the Omer, the animal, to Hashem. And now comes the beginning of the process. These 7 times 7. You go through every emotion in life, every step of the way. And your mission is now in this stage, not to fall apart. So if you fell apart, it's good. Just say, okay, I fell apart. I'm feeling absolutely confused. I'm feeling like grief, all these feelings you have, and every time, Hashem, I'm bringing you into this, I'm bringing into the animal inside me, I'm making a bracha. Thank you, Hashem, for an opportunity to find you. And you start finding Hashem because you're making His will like your will, then He makes your will like His will. That's what happens on Shavuot. Shavuot, when we get the Torah. What does that mean? Anochi Hashem Elokech. Hashem says, I'm revealing myself to you. You and I are going to become one. Once you go through this whole animalistic process, you discover there's a new way, new glasses you can put on at life. That's your Shavuot glasses. That's chita. What's the glasses? See, when you don't know this, you go through life and it's hard. There comes a point when you realize, wow, I learned my stuff. I got this. I got it. Then experiences still happen to you. Life still happens to you. But once you have the correct glasses on and you know what you're looking at and you see, I see Hashem everywhere. That's human food. You move from animal food, seorah, to chita. Be careful. There's no chet in life. We are the shvatim. Shvatim are the animals, right? 12 bakal, they're carrying Hashem. There's no chet and tet. No lacking. There is no lacking in your life. Your life is perfection. It's chita. Being a receptacle. So in the 49 days, you're working your way and you're like, things happen to you, you know, and you have to find Hashem and it's just hard work. Then you get to Shavuot and you're like, no, Hashem is in everything. So my eyes become, it's like, I'm a messenger of Hashem. What's next? You start off with that perspective. Do you ever notice your brain? You've got to shut the brain off sometimes. Like, why do you have to go there? Why must you? Your brain's about to think about something. And hello, if you start thinking about that something, you're going to get anxiety. And then you have to deal with anxiety. Don't go there. Don't think about it and just stay in the moment. Stay with Hashem. That's Anochi Hashem Elokech, I am Hashem. So the first stage over here is when you get to this absolute perfection of one with Hashem. And it doesn't mean there's no world, there is a world. But the world is chita. The world is a space of shtei alechem. It's a space to find Elokus everywhere. It's a place you can find Hashem as long as you see everything's a receptacle. And then Hashem gives us the Torah because we become conduits to the divine energy that flows through us, that flows in us. Every Jew is really a piece of Hashem. So it's the hard work. You're not being thrown curveballs in life. You're not. It's just your life is special. Hashem wants to be revealed over you. You're all these angels coming your way, and this is about you finding Hashem. And when you get there, you're like, okay, everything's divine. And now you walk into a new world with a newfound power. Because the post-Shavuot world is a world which is illuminated by God. And you're like, okay, bring them on. What's next? Till next year, yeah, when you go through the process again. But in this stage of the process, it means my life is divine. Everything about me is divine. This world is just a place to bring Hashem's Torah in. Just a place to reveal divine energy down. And I'm the conduit to do that. When you do that, you just become aligned with Hashem. So that's our work. It's called Kabbalah Torah B'Simcha Pnim, is to be able to receive the Torah and to recognize that you are the one. Anochi Hashem Elokecha means single tense. Hashem gave it to you as a single individual. He says to you, I'm revealing myself and manifesting myself through you. Your life is holy. And when you realize that, then the opportunities which come your way are in the first place not animal food, they're human food. They are opportunities for consumption of divine energy and to bring Hashem into the picture. And then things just start illuminating. It's a beautiful world. It's just about us discovering it.